Hello.
What's up, everybody? It's Erin.
And Nicole. This is Dude That's Fucked Up, the podcast.
Yales. What's up, everybody? I hope you're well. Hope, I don't know, it's March. Fuck, it's March already.
Dude. Oh, my God.
My God. March
It's like-
madness.
It's madness, I tell ya.
Truly.
March Madness.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we say it literally every time we hop on. It's just like,
Yeah.
what is time? Oh, man.
Well, I mean, honestly, maybe we might all be vaccinated in the U.S. by the end of May. I mean,
Dude,
I can't believe it.
things are looking up.
And yeah, you know what too? I think it's like how when you go to a fancy busy restaurant and they tell you the wait's going to be 30 minutes. Like I think they're still over.
I love an under promise and
Yes.
an over deliver. I love it.
I think that's what might happen.
That's how you should run your business. That's how you
Yep.
should treat your relationships. Well, you should always be better in relationships than you would be at like a job, of course. But like, and business especially, you should just always under promise and always over deliver.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, do we have any business for this week?
Do we? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We have a Patreon, we could say. It's patreon.com/DTFU podcast. We have a ton. I know we just, I
So
think
much
we just
content.
plugged it. Yeah, but we have extra content on there. Check it out. It's pretty fun.
Like whole full episodes that
Yeah.
you've never heard before that are
Yeah.
for you.
And they're video now too, because we learned how to do video last year. So you could see our faces.
Yeah. It's fun. It's great fun.
It's fun. Yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah. Check that out. You can join for like a single solitary month and
that's it.
consume all the content and
Yeah.
bone out if you want to.
Yeah, you could join for a month, crush a ton of content, and get the fuck out.
Yeah.
We
I don't
still
care.
love you.
We
Yeah,
still love
care.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We still think you're cool.
Like, that's fine. But like, stick around.
But stick around because there's always shit coming up.
Always shit going on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's the biz. Anything fucked up for you this month or week, I should say?
Okay. Yeah, this month. Has this week been a month yet? Feels
Is
like it.
It's like the 13,000th day. Thousandth.
It's the 13,000th day of
My lisp came back, you guys.
January? Of December? Oh my God. It's the 13,000th day of 2020. Yeah, I have a fucked up thing. Okay.
Yes.
This is gonna embarrass Pete, but also he said I could talk about it.
Oh, great. Permission.
Yeah.
Permission granted.
He gave permission, but also I was like, I would have talked about it anyway. I mean, he needs to learn. Anyway, so
He knows what it is.
yeah, he knows what it is. So Pete is a very adventurous eater, and like he'll try anything. Like if it's supposed to be good, if it has good reviews, if someone said it's good, and I'm saying adventurous not in terms of like just getting a new dish, but like something that's maybe more like a traditional dish of like a country's cuisine that we don't eat a lot of or whatever, or we haven't been like exposed too much. And so we ordered Thai food the other night, and there was a black salted crab salad, and I would never order that. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, first of all, seafood
Salt
delivery.
and crab together and seafood delivery. Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, there's just so many things happening that I'm not on board with. I just got like chicken pad thai like a fucking basic bitch. And it was very good. And so Pete got this crab salad, and he's like, I wonder how to eat this. And they're like little tiny crabs. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And so I'm just like eating, and then I hear this sound that is so upsetting, and he is eating the whole crab shell and all. And I was like, are you supposed to eat the whole thing? Is it like a soft shell crab type thing? But it doesn't sound soft. The sound was sending like all the hairs on my neck up, and like just awful. And I was like, oh God. And he's like, yeah, I just looked it up. Like you're supposed to eat the whole thing. And I was like, okay. And so he just kept eating it, and it was like the most unpleasant dinner.
Oh my God.
And then time goes by, we get in bed and we lay down and he goes, I like heard his stomach making noises.
Oh no.
I was like, oh man, I feel like that crab was a bad idea. And he goes, yeah, I don't think you're supposed to eat the whole thing.
Oh no. Oh no.
And I was like, I know, I Googled it after dinner. He Googled it during dinner, but I think because he had already kind of committed to it, he just was like, I'm just going to do it.
Oh no.
It's
God.
fine. I think
Did
it's
he
like
perforate an intestine?
No, I think he chewed it enough times, thankfully, that it like
pulverized
was
it.
So upsetting to me, but like helpful on his end. And so, yeah, he ate these crabs that were, the sound is just like someone's chewing on glass. And what you're supposed to do, what I saw, is you like break it open and suck on it. And it's like salty.
Like a pistachio.
Or like a crawfish or whatever.
Yeah.
You like open it and suck the juice out or whatever, and that's the good part. But because it was tiny, like the legs are like so tiny. It's like how you can't like crack them open. I guess you just eat it, and it was,
Yikes!
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Pete.
So he did that.
Oh, ouchie.
Yeah, I didn't ask him if he had any trouble, but I'm assuming he was fine. Did you have anything fucked up this week?
Yes. Okay. So we got a follow. So our last episode was our anniversary episode. We had some really fun listener stories. Mm-hmm. One of them was about a very durable hymen, basically.
Yeah. Excessive hymen. Yeah.
So after that episode came out, a listener emailed us talking about how she had an experience similar, but actually, used tampons, very uncomfortable. Sex was uncomfortable. Yeah. I won't say who this person was. I'm not going to share the whole email, but for some context. And finally,
and this wasn't like once or twice it was uncomfortable. It was like
the whole time.
Continuously. Yeah.
But yeah, so she was saying in her email that it was like it was very uncomfortable, and then she at one point was taking out a tampon and it like ripped part of her hymen because it was like webbing basically is how it like had grown like kind of a lot. And so and it jogged a memory for me, and actually my memory was kind of jogged after the hymenectomy story from the listener episode. This literal exact same thing happened to me, and I just kind of like blocked it out or something. I wrote back to this listener to tell her like, this fucking happened to me, and I just like lived my life and totally forgot about it, I guess. I don't know.
Oh my God. Which is that, like basically the tampon got stuck in the story, and so they pulled on it, and it basically like tore the rest of the hymen. Like
it broke the hymen, but it pulled it in a way that usually it goes like up and in when your hymen breaks. And it's usually, for most people, it's not, it doesn't, it's like
that doesn't happen. Yeah.
Your hymen is like pliable and a thin piece of tissue.
Right.
But for me and other people, many other people, it can grow in a way that like there's like multiple layers to it, or it's like it's like webbed or something, like it kind of like spider webs together.
Yeah.
So I probably at some point, obviously like long ago, had my main part of my hymen broke, and then because I was able to use like tampons and have sex like normally, and it didn't hurt or wasn't uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like the part that was still intact would like kind of move to the side or something. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But one day when I was taking a tampon out, it like pulled on a part that was still intact, and it broke. And I was just like, I think I broke my vagina.
Oh my God.
That really fucking hurt. Like, I was like, it hurt really fucking bad, but I didn't bleed that bad.
Yeah. And you're already on your period.
And
so
I was like, So I was just like, oh, I guess I'll ask my gynecologist my next appointment in a couple of months. And they just like, nobody ever said anything to me though. Like no doctors ever were like, hey, just so you know, you have like still have a little bit of tissue here. Your hymen is still intact a little bit. Nobody said anything to me. I had been going to the gynecologist. This only happened to me, I think, in like 2012 or something. Like, you know, like I was a full adult woman.
Yeah. Living as an adult for a decade.
Had been to the gynecologist a million times. So I never like thought twice about it. Like I was just like, oh, I guess that's just, and I think in my mind I was like, oh, I think that was maybe like a piece of my hymen. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like what else could it be?
Oh my God.
You know? I don't know. Like how fucked up is that? But like this listener was saying like, yes, hymenectomies are very necessary because this shit can happen to you.
Yeah.
Like you can bust a piece of your hymen off and it could get infected. It could be really painful. It could be dangerous. Like, I don't know. Like, I got lucky and was just like, I don't know. How fucked up is that, though?
It's so fucked up. I truly hate how little we are talked to about our bodies.
Yeah.
And, like, how little things are normalized about our bodies. And we are so lucky because both of us had very open, young mothers who, like, I don't know about your mom, but my mom talked to me about everything. I never felt weird talking to her about stuff. She brought stuff up in ways that, like, were fine to me. Like, none of it was weird, and she didn't shy away from those conversations, and I feel so lucky. But also, like, I don't think she talked to me. There's still stuff she didn't talk to me about, like guys are going to be creepy to you, or like hemorrhoids are a thing.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, there's just still so many things, or like, I don't know. I just don't know. But it would have been so nice if like I would have learned so many more things earlier, not necessarily from my mom, and maybe
just like the world, you know, the world needs to normalize this shit. And like in sex ed, it's just like very basic. Like we got like a good amount of sex education.
Yeah.
And
it's basically
education
like
about
don't
our
get
bodies.
pregnant. And that's it's like,
yeah, and like we learn about our bodies, but just like the very basic functions of it.
Yeah.
Like not.
No one said I would have hair on my fucking nipples and shit.
Yeah, like
rude. And then that comes in, I'm like, am I a freak? And it's like, no, people have hair on their nipples, I think. I don't know.
I know. So all that is to say, like, thank you to this listener for the first listener story talking about the thick and
the hymenectomy.
Resilient hymenectomy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this other listener coming through with another story.
Showing support.
So yeah. And it just, I am like, can't believe I never told anybody about it until this person emailed about it. And I was like, this literally same exact thing happened to me. And I can't believe I just like let it go like it was no big deal. Like
so scary.
It's
I'm so
scary.
Sorry.
I mean, now that I think about it, it's like really fucked up.
It's fucked up. Yeah.
And I was just like I wasn't even at home, I don't think, when it happened. I was like,
oh my God, that's traumatic.
I was like at somebody else's apartment. I think it was at DJ's apartment, actually.
Oh my God.
We had just started dating, probably. It was just like,
oh God.
I was like, oh no, I broke my vagina in my new boyfriend's bathroom. Like,
I broke my vagina. Oh my God. Oh, at least it didn't fall out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh God. Where do I get this fixed?
Well, and thank God, you know, everything was good to go, but like I was able to, you know, live a normal life. But like I can imagine like somebody being totally freaked out and like traumatized by that. And I don't know, just crazy that can happen. And we just we do like, I felt like I was a pretty educated person and like comfortable with my own body. And like then that happened and I was just like totally like, I don't know what to do. And is this bad? Yeah. Maybe, but I think I'm okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's so fucked.
I know. It's like, yeah, it's so fucked. Well, I think in their story, it was like pretty traumatic. Like it seemed like bad.
Way worse. Way worse.
The next day. Yeah. So,
yeah.
But I was proud of that too, because, you know, it's like so many people are just like scared, especially if it has to do with your genitals. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, I don't want to go. Like I'm embarrassed, or like I don't want anyone to like know this is happening. And it's like, no. you got to tell someone because
this is a very important part of your body. Like,
yeah, and it's like on the it's on the inside, and like you don't know what's going on in there, and you can't see in there too. It's like, it's not like an arm thing where you're like, oh, does that cut look infected? It's like on the inside, and you got to have someone with a flashlight look in there.
I know. I think about like how nobody ever mentioned it or said it could be an issue, or like this or tissue could be an issue. Yeah.
Oh my God. Maybe because the song's never been written, and if we write a song for it, then people can sing it in their sex ed classes.
Hymenectomies are a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And this tissue could be, and you might have an issue with your tissue, and that's totally normal and fine.
Ugh.
And you know what? It's all part of having a healthy vagina.
Huzzah. You've done it.
We have a song.
Oh,
well,
God.
it's like learning the 50 states. And when it's in a song, it's just easier.
We should just,
Yeah.
start a whole company to educate young girls and adult women about their bodies.
Yeah. Anyone. Everyone should talk about their bodies. Whatever they have, we should be talking about it. So it's normalized and people aren't embarrassed by normal functions.
Yeah. And then you don't like fuck your shit up or like feel like you're alone, Yeah. It's just.
I know. And then people feel shame about it. And then it's like, it's like a whole big thing. I know. Well, what are we talking about today? Let's get into it.
Let's get off this. And we're talking about something so totally different from anything that we were just talking about. So
yeah.
I don't even have a good segue for it.
We don't need one.
We really don't, because this woman that we're talking about today is someone who survived not one, not two, but three.
Oh, no, it is two.
No, it is two. No, there's actually three.
No, it's three.
1, 2, 3 major maritime accidents. One of those accidents, maybe you've heard of, the sinking of the motherfucking Titanic.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is a wild story of a woman who survived 3 major maritime accidents. She survived the sinking of the Titanic and then 2 other major events that are in history. And when I first heard about this woman, I was like, this cannot be real. But also, if it is, have we investigated this woman thoroughly?
Yeah.
What is happening here? Is she cursed?
Which?
Yeah. Is she cursed? Should she even be getting on any boats at all anymore?
Ma'am, no.
But can you even imagine being fucking present for the sinking of the goddamn Titanic?
And like surviving it?
It.
Like, how many people survived it? Like 1,200 or something?
Yeah, like a lot.
A good amount. But so many people died.
Mm-hmm.
Or was it like 300? I don't even know.
It was, a lot of people survived, but a lot of people also died.
Yeah, it was a very big ship, and it was like maximum capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's insane that this person survived. Like so many. She just couldn't get enough of boats.
I mean, well, that was her profession, which we'll talk about in a second. But I'm just envisioning this woman going through these events, and one of the the biggest events, at least in our eyes, because we have had James Cameron tell us it was like a huge deal. I mean, it was a big deal. Yeah. One of the richest people in the world at the time died in the Titanic. An Astor died in the Titanic.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I wonder why they could have gotten on a thing.
Maybe they were like a good person and like women and children, or maybe they got hurt or something. I don't know.
True.
But yeah, James Cameron made a whole ass movie about the sinking of the Titanic, which made it feel very like we were there. It was a very good and detailed
and relevant
like final few moments, like capturing those, what it must have been like in those final moments of that ill-fated voyage. Also for me, thank you, James Cameron, solidified my lifelong crush on Leo and Kate.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. But fuck you very much for Avatar. So.
Oh my God. I hated that movie.
What a terrible. And they're like supposed to make 1 million more. I hope it does not happen.
And aren't they making like an Avatar ride or Avatar World or something at Disneyland?
It's like, sir, this is done. We don't need this. Okay.
We don't care. Oh my
well,
God.
this was a, crazy thing that happened in that time. And this woman was present for it and 2 other events.
Dude.
So let's learn about this very cursed or
Lucky.
Lucky, if however you want to look at it.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed. Badass survivor lady in her very interesting life. Her name was Violet Constance Jessop, and she was born on October 2nd, 1887, near Bahia. I don't know how to say it. I'm sorry.
Bahia Blanca?
Bahia Blanca, but like it's Argentinian, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Well, in Argentina. She was
nailed it.
I'm an idiot.
In Argentina. Yes.
Yes. She was the oldest daughter of Irish immigrants, William and Catherine Jessop. So there were, she's just Irish, but living in Argentina. She was the oldest of 9 children, of which only 6 survived in infancy and childhood. This was a time when it was very hard to live. Like,
yikes.
You catch a cold, you get pneumonia, especially if you're a little baby. Really hard times. And her first brush with death came as a young kid. Very early in life, she became ill, and with what people are presuming was tuberculosis. Now, when you get that as a kid, it is very fatal. So doctors were like, "You're probably gonna die."
At that time, in general, it was very fatal.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. But she obviously survived despite doctors' predictions that she would probably die. And so I'm guessing like maybe either this illness that she had or, subsequent illnesses similar to this are what took out her 3 siblings. But I don't know much about that.
Yeah.
But this was a time where, little babies and children just didn't make it out of infancy or childhood. So lucky already. When Violet was 16 years old, her father died due to complications from surgery. And so like already surrounded by a lot of death, a lot of crazy things early in life. And her mom was like, you know what? Let's get the fuck out of here. Let's go to England. So she moved the family to England. Violet attended a convent school, and she helped take care of her youngest sister while her mother was working as a stewardess on like ships. Then her mother became ill, and so she was like, you have to take over earning money for the family, basically.
Yeah.
She was the oldest, so she had so Violet dropped out of school, and she went and followed in her mother's footsteps, probably because that was like the industry that her mom knew. Like if her mom was in service or something for a house, that's probably what she would do. But she already knew what her mom did. Her mom probably had some ins at some places, and so she started applying for jobs to be a stewardess on a ship. Now, this is where things get very sexist. I read this little tidbit and I was like, what? What does that have to do with anything? So I'm reading about it, and a part of her story says she had to start dressing down to make herself less attractive to be hired. So to be clear, Violet was hot. Like, she was gorgeous.
Yeah, hot lady.
A very beautiful woman. You can like look up her pictures and you can see her as a young lady. She's just like classically beautiful, and just like even by today's standards, like she would you would like look twice at her and be like, ooh,
yeah,
it's a very beautiful lady. So I was like, well, what are you talking about? What's happening? But in those days, to get a job, they just weren't about women having jobs in general. They were like, oh God, we have to hire women. Oh,
yeah. They're like, if we are gonna hire a woman, we want one that no one cares about.
Yeah, they're like, are you over childbearing age, great.
Yeah, great. Do you have any facial deformities? Would you be open to receiving one? If you have a hunchback, that'd be great.
This is a very unsafe work environment, so nobody cares about you in life. Like, you're already unfuckable, right?
Yeah.
That's cool? Okay, cool.
Yeah, great. Also, it'd be great if you had no self-worth. So not only do we want you to be hideous, we also want you to think that you deserve everything bad that happens to you. It'll just make it easier.
This is your identity now. This is your job. This is what you do. So no, this is like truly terrible. Employers back then, though, believed that someone like her, who was youthful, I mean, she was like 20 at the time, probably. Yeah. She was youthful and she had really good looks. They were like, this is a disadvantage. You will cause problems with the crew and passengers. AKA, they were like, we're worried because of your hotness that men will get too horny.
Yeah.
And that's really a you problem, not an us problem. We will not hold any men accountable.
Oh my God.
We just simply can't have it. So
and nothing has changed, and that was 140 years ago.
Yeah, well, except now it's like, oh, you're hot, we will hire you, but also if you use that hotness to make people horny, then that's your fault too. Yeah. So
oh my God. And it's your fault it's your fault you cannot show a bra strap, because what if this man cannot contain his boner?
Yeah,
then what? We're gonna shut the whole company down. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, we don't want to like upset our customers because of that.
We can't be shutting down for the day for boners. Production will not like that.
Yeah, so she literally, though, she lost out on jobs because of this. So she's like she's bopping around applying for tons of jobs, and she finally was like, all right, I'm just gonna like,
I know, same girl.
Yeah,
I know how she feels. Oh my God, I know.
I'm gonna just wear these literal like sweat stained rags, not wear any makeup.
I'm gonna wear the underwear I sharded in at Target.
Oh man.
I'm gonna wear these pants I've worn since the beginning of quarantine.
Yeah, like they really were out here just like waiting for somebody who just like, you know, they wanted a middle-aged women.
Yeah.
They wanted
spinsters.
They wanted invisible women, basically. If they had to hire women, if women had to be in the workplace, employers were looking for women who would make themselves basically invisible. So she dressed herself frumpy, no makeup, did not try basically when she went into these interviews, and they were like, oh, great. Yeah, you're perfect. You look like disgusting. Shit. So
when was the last time you washed your hair? Gross. It looks like never. You're hired.
Yeah, they're like, thank you so much for making yourself as invisible as possible to avoid the male gaze. Like, this is exactly what we need. You're hired. We're counting on you to keep male horniness to a minimum while you work with us. No, like I said, we'll not be holding any men accountable.
Yeah.
No gross male behavior is too gross for us, but anything that is probably incited by you is not tolerated. Zero tolerance on that. So welcome aboard. So she really went for it, and she finally did get hired. Mm-hmm. And over the course of her career, though, she did get at least 3 marriage proposals while working on various ships. And one,
oh my God.
Yeah, one was from an incredibly wealthy first class passenger. So like, she was out here just being hot, and she couldn't help it. It just couldn't help it. It just like kept coming through.
That's the thing. The male gaze stops for no one.
No. Boners.
Boners be damned. It will they'll happen. And you know what? Dudes get boners for everyone. So
yeah. Can't stop any kind of gross men.
Yeah. Bad to the bone.
So after, so her first job was a brief stint on a ship called the Orinoco, and that was a Royal Mail Line steamer in 1908. So like right around the same time. So she had a brief stint on that ship, and then in 1908 she was hired by the White Star Line. Now that is the most famous line of its time. It's like,
Yep.
you know, the celebrity cruises of its day. I don't know.
Yeah. Or like the Norwegian. Oh, is the celebrity one the good one?
I feel like celebrity. I don't know. I think all
Norwegian?
of them are bad.
Yeah. Oh, no, there's like some nice ones.
Yeah. Well, this was like high class, beautiful, like
Yeah.
transatlantic
Yeah.
sailing
Yeah.
in style. So she started out on the White Star Line's ship, the Majestic. And then she switched to the Olympic in 1910. And she was making like shit pay, like literally like two pounds every month, which is like in those days about 200 pounds. That'd be about 200 pounds today.
Oh my God. And that work was awful.
Yeah. I mean, she was a stewardess. So she's like running around doing everything for everyone.
Yeah.
But despite like the shitty pay, she actually really enjoyed working on these huge ships. So she was like kind of nervous. This was like, you know, in its day, this was like the modern way to travel.
Yeah.
It'd be like being a stewardess on a jet, you know, like a really nice jet these days.
Okay. Like first class, like Qatar Airways or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like there's like a bar in there and a dance floor and shit.
Yeah, and everybody has showers. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like in Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
I feel like I've said this before, but I just really want to travel in that sort of first class just before I die at some point.
Yeah.
Like,
and if I die on the plane, like, cool. That's fine.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I know, because then I'll have done it and I'll have peaked.
That's right. That's true. So she at first she had some like actual concerns about being on the open ocean and how the ships would, you know, sail through rough weather conditions while they were traveling across the Atlantic. Like that was, it's genuinely kind of scary. They did not have the like radar equipment that we do these days. Like they had to just like really put their fucking finger in the air and be like, the pressure's about to drop. Like,
yeah, like, uh-oh, there's land ahead.
My bones are aching. You know, it's going to rain. Are we about to sail into a hurricane? I don't know.
I see one. Well, it's too late to turn this huge fucking thing around, so we're going to hit it.
Yeah. So, you know, it was pretty scary being in big storms like that on these ships.
Yeah.
But anyway, she really did like traveling on these ships because she liked that the Americans that would get on board were more respectful, I guess, and they would treat her nicely. So it was
oh my God.
In those days, Americans were, you know,
or it's that thing where I've
that
seen
new
people,
money thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's that thing where I've seen people say Americans or people say this about West Coasters. West Coasters are nice, but they're not kind. And East Coasters are kind, but they're not nice. And I'm like, oh, I think I know what that means.
Yes. Yes, and.
Yes, and yeah. Not all, hashtag not all West Coasters or whatever. But yeah, I think it's like probably Americans were like nicer to their faces, but like.
It's that thing of where you seem nice. You just want to talk about yourself though.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. And it's like, yes, I'm going to be nice to you, but also can you please wait on me? Like, this whole time and like draw my bath and like, did you turn down my bed? It's like,
it's just rich people in those days that were taking these trips. I mean, British rich people were very different compared to the American rich people. And she preferred the American rich people, I guess.
Oh my gosh.
So that made it.
That was the end of that.
Yeah. Well, it made it a more enjoyable journey for her, I think. So the Olympic was a luxury ship that was the largest civilian liner at the time. And she was on board on the 20th of September, 1911, when the Olympic left from Southampton and collided with the British warship HMS Hawke.
Oh my God.
This like was pretty fucked. Like they fully crashed into another huge ship, and
oh my God,
it caused a lot of damage. However, there were no fatalities.
Wow.
And despite the damage that was sustained, they were able to make it back to the port without sinking. So
wow. Maybe they weren't that far. It was like they just backed out. It's like when two people are backing out of parking spots and they hit each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, well, you're already here. Just pull back in and deal with it.
Yeah. So really, really lucky that it wasn't more of a disaster. But that was her first brush with that kind of scary maritime accident.
With fucking ship incidents.
Yeah. So then Violet boarded the RMS Titanic as a stewardess on April 10th of 1912.
Oh my God. That's like months later.
Yeah.
Like not even a full year later.
Yeah. She's just like, yeah, I got to work. So, so she gets on the Titanic. She's 24 years old. And 4 days later, on April 14th, it struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic, where we all know what happens next. That shit sank 2 hours and 40 minutes later after the collision. And she writes a memoir about her life after this because it's like wild, first of all.
Yeah. Can
you fucking imagine? I can't imagine just being like, I just was in a fucking boat accident like a few months ago.
I would think boats are like not the way to go after the first one. I mean, after the first two, you know what I mean? It's like boats are scary.
Well, and you think too, after being on the Olympic when this happened, and then knowing like, okay, shit can happen. Yeah. It's definitely not 100% foolproof. But did not expect the Titanic to fully sink.
No one did. Yeah.
No one did.
Fucking BYO Life Fest. I would make an inflatable raft that I carried in my luggage.
100%. Oh my God.
I'd be like, I would get someone like a cobbler to make me luggage that actually I could just dump my clothes out of and it would fold out into a boat for just one.
Yeah.
Just for me.
Yeah. I mean, and the probability of her being in these accidents are higher, I guess, because this is her job. She's supposed to be on these ships all the time.
Sure, but the probability of being in even just these two is wild.
Yes. And
it's so unlikely.
I think things like this like happen, like collisions or like, incidents at sea like this happened, but not on this scale. And obviously the Titanic is crazy. So she describes in her memoirs how she was ordered up on deck because she was supposed to function of an example of how to behave for the non-English speakers who were on the ship.
After the crash?
Yeah. So she was like able to, use her language. She was like multilingual. She was able to like tell people like, this is what you need to do. You need to put a life jacket on. There's lifeboats over here. Stay calm. Everything's okay.
She was like the modern day, there's a card in the back of the seat pocket in front of you. She was the card where she's like putting the life vest on and showing them how to tie it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's like blowing into her thing. Yeah. And here's the lifeboats at the aft of the ship, on the sides, and the fore. Yeah. And she like helped and watched crew load the lifeboats and was like, helping or like an orderly assembly of passengers get onto lifeboats.
She was handing out pretzels.
Yeah, she was like, "It's fine, everybody." No,
everybody. Look at my face. Do I look nervous?
Look here.
Yeah, look here. Oh, if I look nervous, that's when you worry. If I don't look nervous, you don't need to worry.
See these guys over here? They're playing music. Everything's okay.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Yeah.
No one's shouting. No one's upset.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So she got into a lifeboat 16. As the boat was being lowered, one of the Titanic's officers gave her a baby to look after.
Mm-hmm. She was ordered into the lifeboat.
Yeah, they were like, you still need to like maintain.
Stay with these people.
Yeah, you need to like help these people still. But
that's fair because I always thought like when you think about it, you're like, oh no, there was no crew. Like it was. I'm sure all the crew had to like stay behind and die unless they were like rowing the boat. But then it's like, no, you would make sure that there is someone there to like a stewardess
Yeah.
Or, you know, like a flight attendant on a plane. It's like, no, you want someone to be like the leader and be like making sure everyone's comfortable and does everyone have a life vest?
Blanket, life vest. Yeah.
Can I get you anything? Yeah. So it makes sense from like a business or brand perspective to like do that.
My Alexa just started playing. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. So she's on this lifeboat. She was given a baby, just a random baby to look after. And then the next morning, they got scooped up by the RMS Carpathia, which is who they sent the SOS to while the Titanic was going down. The Carpathia came and scooped up everybody that was in the lifeboats. She gets on the ship with this baby, and in her memoir, she says that morning a woman came running up to her, crying, and grabbed the baby from her and took off. So she had no idea if that was the mother or what. So wild. And then she said later on in her life, somebody called her and said, "You are the one that saved me. I was that baby," or something.
Yeah. But then didn't they laugh and hang up?
Yeah, but she's like, I don't know how anybody would have known that. Everybody that could have witnessed it died, and I never told anybody. So,
except like, I mean, she could have told people. You know what I mean? That sounds like a story. That sounds like a story that you have to tell over and over anytime you're at a party.
Sure.
It's like, okay, but like, oh my God, Violet's here. Violet, you have to tell Fred. He's never heard. She was on the fucking Titanic, Fred. Tell. And you're like,
Violet.
Okay. Yeah.
Violet. Like, let me just like refill my drink really quick. Yeah. It was crazy, you guys. Like, first of all, like everybody's hitting on me. It's crazy. Like,
yeah, first of all, I had to make myself like I looked like a troll. But they made me look like a troll. It's like, oh my God, Violet, I could never imagine that. You're so gorgeous. I know.
Like,
they made me.
That's like, how I had to get my job. So
yeah, I was in the most ill-fitting outfit.
They're like, just wear the life jacket all the time under your clothes. It's fine. Yeah.
They're like,
no.
Yeah. The lumpier the better. So I did it. I leaned into it, and that's how I survived. I was already wearing a life vest.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. So she's on the Titanic, survives. Incredible. Yeah. She still has to work though. So she goes back to work on the Olympic for a few years. But then World War I breaks out in 1914, and she actually joined the British Red Cross as a nurse. So badass.
Oh my God. And it wasn't like she wasn't in the service. She was a VAD nurse, which I had to look up what that is, but it's a voluntary aid detachment nurse. And these were very popular in World War I and World War II. They're not military, but they were stationed, like they remained civilians, but they were stationed outside of like military bases as additional like hospital offsite nurse station people.
Yeah,
like, Yeah, it wasn't.
And you didn't have to be
military base.
You weren't. Yeah, and you weren't in the military. Like,
no.
If you were a military nurse, you had to be like in the army or whatever.
Right. Yeah, and you had to be on bases and dealing with like you know, immediate injury and what do they call that? Triage. Yeah, but but this was after. It's like, okay, this is like where guys are recovering or whatever. So
and then like discharge them and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she had a set of skills that she was like, I need to like put this to use. So she did the voluntary aid detachment nurse. So yeah, she was like, I'll get on a ship. I'll do whatever. Tell me what to do.
Yeah, she's like, I love boats. I don't know if you've heard this, but I survive all the accidents.
I'm like actually pretty lucky. So it'd be a good idea to have me on the ship. Like, I'm not saying it would have happened if I was not on, it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't on the ship, but like I survived. So like there has to be some sort of luck happening here. I don't know.
Yeah. Or anybody else could be like, actually, maybe we shouldn't put you on a boat. Because it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, every ship you've ever worked on, bad luck.
Bad things are happening. Yeah.
Oh my God. But she did. She was working as a VAD nurse, and she already had a lot of experience. She already had her sea legs, which takes a lot of time to get. And so they're like, hey, let's put her on this hospital ship that we have, running this route. It's the HMS Titanic. It was a sister ship to the Olympic and the Titanic.
Yes. They repurposed it to be a wartime ship.
A hospital ship.
Just like the Queen Mary.
Yeah, just like the Queen Mary.
Mm-hmm.
Only this one was maybe also cursed because it was like the sister to the other two that had been in accidents that she was also on.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very weird. And she worked as a nurse on this ship for 2 years, nursing British soldiers back to health on voyages between the Middle East and England until the morning of November 21st, 1916, which is 2 years, roughly 2 years after the Titanic sunk. And the Britannic hit a mine just off the coast of Greece. Oof. And this is wild. I didn't know anything about this sinking. I
didn't either.
Oh my God.
I mean, I knew it happened, but it's like really fucking dramatic.
It's true. Oh my gosh. It's so traumatic. It is, I think, partly because it is related to the Titanic incident.
Right. Yes.
And I always knew that the Britannic was like a sister ship of the Titanic and sunk, but I didn't know the details. But it's also fucked up because they tried to prevent some of the things that happened from happening again, like what happened with the Titanic from happening with the Britannic. It's Britannic, right? Yeah, not Britannica.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
Encyclopedia, yeah. Okay, so like this, here's a very quick rundown of what happened with the Britannic.
Tell me everything.
Okay. So right after the Titanic incident, White Star, the ocean liner company that like managed these boats and built them, took a ton of precautions with watertight doors, because that was one of the things that did the Titanic in, was that they didn't shut them fast enough. They didn't have enough that could shut. Like, it was all fucked up. So they made sure that this would have more buoyancy. If something were to happen, they could like lock it all off and the boat could still float.
Right.
It didn't matter, because this is what happened. There was an explosion around 8 a.m. on November 21st, and it wasn't immediately known, but they had hit a mine. And this was right off the coast of Greece. And because of the location of the explosion at the time, different stations on the boat, and mind you, this wasn't a military boat, but it was like military adjacent. So like everybody on the boat, unless you're a patient, is working. This isn't like a cruise, you know?
Right.
And so a bunch of people were like, oh shit, and like went to their stations. And then everybody else, like at the back of the boat, because they were hit towards the front, they were like, what was that? And then they're like, I don't know, like I'm going to eat the rest of my cheesesteak. And they weren't eating that. And so that's already a mess, because communication was bad.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, the explosions damaged a few of the watertight doors that they were going to have to rely on to like lock this down and survive.
You can't rely on the watertight doors.
You cannot rely on the watertight doors.
We learned this, and Leo told us, like, he was wading around in the fucking, yes, we know this.
Yeah, no, there's water everywhere.
Yeah.
And so the Britannic should have been able to stay afloat with 6 of the watertight compartments full of water, but it wasn't able to seal off correctly or something like that because of where the explosion happened. Erin's on the toilet.
No, I was pouring it
No,
up.
it's just water. But if you're listening, you don't know, so she might be on the toilet. Okay, so that was damaged. So it was filling with water, and it like couldn't close off. Problem number 1. Problem number 2, this was a big stinky hospital on water, and they had a bunch of portholes open on the lower decks of the boat.
Oh, no.
Because it smells like, you know, dying men. I don't know. And so they're like, oh, God, we got to like air this place out. So there's a bunch of fucking portholes open in the front of the boat where they've been hit. And so they're taking on water. And as the water gets lower, because the airtight or the watertight sealants aren't working, It's getting lower and lower, and then more water's coming in through the portholes.
Oh my God, what a disaster.
It's such a disaster. In 10 minutes, the Britannic had sustained the same amount of damage the Titanic did in a whole ass hour.
Oh boy, they didn't do all the right precautions, it sounds like.
No, but here's where they had the edge. They had enough lifeboats because they were like, ooh, that was a mistake. We need lifeboats for everyone, especially because we got like people that are going to be injured. We just like, need to be on top of it. So right away, the crew was like, dude, let's get these. Remember, it's a floating hospital. They're like, we need to get all of these injured people.
Oh, what a mess.
Yeah. They're like, we got to get all these injured people into the lifeboats, get them off this fucking sinking ship, and save their lives. So they started, and this was Violet's job partly. So she was part of the staff that was like, all right, let's get these soldiers in the ships. They start filling the lifeboats with the injured people. While they're doing that, the captain, Captain Bartlett, was trying to navigate the ship closer to shore because they were right off the coast.
Yeah.
And he was like, if I can get us to the point where we're close enough to ground the boat, it won't sink, and then it'll be fine. You know?
Yeah. It'll just like flounder there, but like won't drown everybody aboard. Yeah,
it'll be beached, and so to some degree. And so he was trying to do that. God. And also at the same time, because they were hit, the explosion was on one side, it started tilting to that side as it's filling up with water. So he was also trying to correct that. It's just a whole fucking mess.
Wow, this is a lot happening. Holy shit.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then, because there's not a lot of communication and there's not a lot of time, because this is happening way faster than the Titanic, the boat's tipping to one side. People are freaking out. They're getting in the boats and they're just getting off the boat. And so nurses and medical people were like, we can't wait for word to like let these lifeboats get in the water. We got to get these people off. Yeah, we're going to be underwater. So they start getting people off. And the problem is, oh God, this was such a fucking fatal mistake because the engines and propellers were still on.
Oh, fuck. Because he's trying to like maneuver it still.
He's maneuvering.
Oh my God.
He's trying to get closer to the shore, and the boats are like dropping. And the second the boats drop and hit the water, there's a wake that's just pulling them towards the propellers. The second.
A nightmare.
It's a fucking nightmare. I think you know what happens, but the first two lifeboats to hit the water get munched up in the propeller. Everyone on them dies.
Jesus
Christ.
Tragic.
And there's no way to like tell they don't really, no one knows what's going on.
Well, if you can't
happening
see,
so quick.
Because the boat, you can't see like
it's
where
tilted to one side.
Yeah.
The communication's fucked. Like the rudder's not working
and it's sucking the boats into the propeller. Yeah. Jesus Christ, what a nightmare. I know.
It's just total nightmare. And so some say that Violet was on maybe the third lifeboat or like one right behind it that almost got sucked into the propeller, but luckily the captain turned everything off. He realized, I don't know that he realized that happened, but he was like, we're sinking too fast. We need to get people off this ship. I'm turning the engines off.
This is not working.
Yeah. Everyone needs to get off. So ultimately, they did get 35 lifeboats filled and launched, and the captain and his crew stayed on the bridge to try one more time. They turned back on the propellers once the rest of the boats were like away safely. They turned back on the engine and the propellers, and they were trying to again ground the ship, but it was just filled with too much water, and the force of like them trying to go forward actually I think did more damage, and it took them down even a little bit faster. And so eventually they just like cut all the power, and the bridge was filling up with water, and they just kind of like swam out to like a collapsible boat that they had, and like they survived.
Jesus.
Yeah, so all in all, the Britannic sank in 55 minutes in shallowish water off the coast of Greece. Like so shallow that as the ship was sinking, it hit while it was still like sinking. Like it hit the ground and like broke the bow off.
Dude.
Over 1,000 people survived. 30 people died. It was the people in the two first lifeboats. But other than that, there was no other casualties, which was great. And they were all picked up in multiple waves of ships over the course of the next few hours. So luckily, because of where they were, there's like a lot of factors that people survived, but you know, there's more lifeboats. There was more ships around to come pick them up, and the water wasn't that cold, and like all this other stuff, despite it sinking a lot faster. So it was wild. And in later years, because Violet wrote memoirs and wrote about all these experiences, she would describe the sinking of the ship saying, and this is like the last minutes of the sinking of the ship while she's watching it from the lifeboat. She dipped her head a little, then a little lower, and still lower. All the deck machinery fell into the sea like a child's toys.
Whoa.
Then she took a fearful plunge, her stern rearing hundreds of feet into the air until, with a final roar, she disappeared into the depths, the noise of her going resounding through the water with undreamt of violence.
Wow, she's a good writer.
Yeah. It just like fucking, and then crashed.
Dude, I did read that she may have sustained some injuries, specifically head injuries, during this escape from the boat. Yeah. So I'm wondering if just like shit was like flying through the air and like, you know, or she was like, you know, there was like so much chaos that she like, I don't know, was jostled and bonked or something. I don't know. It sounded extremely chaotic. Like, as much as the Titanic with the added fucking, you know, propeller sucking, like that scene from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade where they're in the boat and then they're like getting munched up by the propeller, but like on a way bigger scale. I don't know.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's, I think the difference is too, like the Titanic was a cruise ship for a lot of rich people, and they were so worried about like holding up appearances that the band's fucking playing at the end and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, don't give away the like the illusion. Yeah. This is luxury, and it's like, whereas this was like everybody is working.
It's wartime. Like, let's fucking go. Like, we got dying soldiers that we need to evacuate. Like, let's go.
Let's not let these men die like this.
It sound like this. I know the Titanic was such a huge tragedy and we all know about it, but I feel like this shit deserves a goddamn movie. Like,
I know.
And it needs to be told from her perspective, because like the way I'm envisioning it is just like she's just having flashbacks of the Titanic. And she like wakes up in a cold sweat and she's like, gotta go back to work. And then she gets on this fucking ship. But she's just like constantly plagued by these horrible memories of like her past life experiences. And then she gets on this fucking ship.
Oh my God. Or even you could also write this from the perspective of a soldier that like is fucking injured and almost died and then gets on this fucking boat.
It reminds me
you're safe now, sir. We're on the hospital boat. We're going to get you home back to the motherland. And it's like, oh no.
It reminds me of that scene from Dunkirk where they're all like, he's finally safe. Oh my God, you got to see that movie. That movie fucking rules. He's like, it follows this soldier who's like stranded in Dunkirk, and he finally gets off this beach that he's been stranded on and shot at every 30 minutes or whatever, and he's finally safe on a hospital ship, and then it gets torpedoed and it sinks, and you're just like, dude,
oh my God,
it's like, it's wild. That's what this reminds me of, like this whole account.
It's wild. And I mean, Titanic, they make movies about it probably because it is so tragic. Like, so many people died. But this seems somehow more violent. I don't know. There's very different, like, vibe to this one.
Oh, yeah. Because it was, like, it was a working ship, but it was also the sister ship of the Titanic. So I don't understand why it does not have better. I mean, it hit a fucking mine.
I know, yeah, but it blew a hole in the side, and you know, and in some of the doors and shit. So yeah, But it wasn't in like enemy. It wasn't in like enemy waters or anything, right? It was just like it was a freak thing. So I don't know why there was a mine there. Yeah, I didn't look at that part. I don't know. Yeah,
well, I mean, it's crazy regardless. So
yeah, we might have to do more info on this specific boat, but. Fuck, dude. It's that was third time's a charm, but it didn't kill her. She survived. Just like after that, I would be done with boats personally.
100%. Yeah.
But I think that's also a luxury we have in this day and age, because it's like, well,
where
I'll just
options
pivot
for
to something
women
else.
are more abundant, and we can dress however the fuck we want when we go to work.
And you could like restart your life. Like you could be like, I think I'll get a job at something else now, or like translate my abilities to something else. Like you couldn't do that back then. It's like if you were a stewardess,
I mean, you still kind of can't.
Well, no, but I think if you worked on a cruise ship and then you went to a hotel and you're like, can I work at this hotel? They'd be like, yeah, your experience is relevant. You know what I mean? I feel like it wasn't that easy back then. And there was just like a lot of class hurdles that I'm sure, you know, she was facing, and among so many other things. So she went back to work for White Star in like 1920. And it's like, do you have 9 lives? Is there something you want to tell us? Because I just feel like you had your luck has run out. Your lucketh has run outeth.
I mean, ma'am, this is, you are on borrowed time here. Maybe like, I don't know, work at a restaurant now. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Or like a hospital at this point. Like she has relevant experience. She could be an administrator in a hospital. I don't know.
But again, maybe they didn't need, you know, or maybe she liked the ocean. I think she
liked.
did.
I think she liked the experience of travel, and she went back to work for White Star in 1920, like you said. So she was just like about that life.
Yeah. And then she went on to work for Red Star, and then later the Royal Mail Line again, because why not? And she took cruises around the world. And honestly, I just think, like, get this woman her own boat.
Absolutely.
She deserves it. Like, she must love being on the ocean and the open seas, and like make her a captain, and let's call it a day, because she should not be on these giant ass boats that keep running into shit.
I feel like she should be like in the captain's like area and be like, hey, listen, I've been through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
You might just keep an eye out for mines.
Yeah.
Icebergs. Other boats. That's my best advice.
Yeah. Oh.
Like I'm not the boss here. You're the boss, you're the captain, but also I am the captain now. So I think you should listen to me.
I love the idea of her just like woman-splaining to the captain, just like, but like having
is this your first voyage?
Yeah. Oh no, I almost didn't park it right. Oh no, I've hit a fucking iceberg and survived. Okay, so
looks like you're listing a little bit. Let me just like move this for you. Let's get the bearing right.
Oh no, are we gonna be 5 minutes late? Well, we could be 5 days late if you want to sink this fucking thing, but you probably don't want to do that, do you? So let's just stop whining and do our job.
Let's be cognizant here of the fact that this boat could sink at any moment. I know.
Boats sink.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She stayed on those boats. She loved those boats. She was about that boat life. She like did her memoirs. She had the nickname Miss Unsinkable when people found out that this bitch was like all up in these like maritime disasters. They were like, ma'am. And it's just like crazy coincidences, you know, nothing more.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she had nothing to do with any of this, which is the wild part, because like if you did any sort of like correlation exercises or causation exercises, you'd be like, this woman. But actually there were a couple other people that were on the Titanic and also the Britannic. There was like a pastor, I think, and then some other person, like a sailor man. And I didn't really look into those.
Sailor man.
Yeah. And Olive, and what's the baby's name?
Sweet Pea.
Oh yeah, that's so cute.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. There's, you know, some things in life are just coincidences.
Yeah.
I know everybody always wants to turn coincidences into conspiracy theories, but this is one that you truly can just be like, well, you know, truth is stranger than fiction. This woman really was just like trying to do her job. Was not her fault that all these boats kept crashing.
No, like she's like serving split pea soup in the dining room or whatever, like dressing someone's bandages.
Are we really sinking again?
Again?
God damn it!
God fucking! I need to call my like whoever's getting me these jobs, I need to call my recruiting agent.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I would sue the shit out of White Star. Okay, that's the thing, too. If this happened today, White Star, they wouldn't be a company anymore because they would be sued so hard.
Oh, my God. Like, this is a company, so it's not a person, but I'm going to say, sir, please stop making boats. You don't know what you keep sinking them somehow. I don't know what's happening, but
please stop making them. Please stop staffing them. Please stop putting them in the water.
You should probably not do anything water related anymore.
Yeah.
Let's just call it out.
You know what? Just make plates, because honestly, those survived longer at the bottom of the ocean than some of these fucking boats out here.
Yeah, why don't
and
you
it's
just
gorgeous.
why don't you pivot to like a new thing? Like,
yeah,
why that's the thing. Like, she just like stuck around with this job, but like White Star was the one that really needed to pivot into a new career. Okay.
Maybe make something on land. You know what? You are great at luxury. Maybe make some condos.
How about some hotels? Let's just like
how about some hotels? Yeah. Have the people come to you, because honestly, you're not getting the people where they need to go.
You're murdering people.
You're murdering people, and it's at an alarming rate.
You know what? I live for White Star slander, so this is great.
Also, I realized I'm wearing a white sweater with stars on it, which is very fun.
Oh, well, good for you.
I just realized, and
incredible.
I just thought it was cute.
I love
it was like very on brand. So anyway,
well, if you can believe it, Violet Jessop she didn't live forever, unfortunately.
But she didn't die on a boat.
She did not die on a boat, though. That is true. She just retired to England. She lived into her 80s, and she passed away from congestive heart failure in 1971. My God. Well, that's the tale of Violet Jessop. She, I think she briefly was married in like the 50s, but she noped on out of that shit. She's like, nah, I'm married to the sea now.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe she never married one of the like guys that proposed to her.
I know. I mean, because
they were
she
like
couldn't be tied down. She was wild. Yeah, they were like Billy Zanes.
Yeah, they were like the Billy Zanes, and she was like, no.
Yeah. She's like, no, thank you, sir. I'm
can
better.
Tell you're an asshole.
I've survived many disasters. Yeah. I don't need to actually create a disaster for myself, which this marriage will probably be. So I think I'm better off alone, like LSDJ. So
yeah, she's like, I will marry you, but this is a ship I'm gonna sink.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Good for her. God bless and Godspeed. I can't believe this woman is real.
I know. Yeah, I really did think it was fake. Even today when I like went to do research, I was like, oh, I feel like I'm prepared to find an article that's like, this woman wasn't real, but no, she was real. She, like a lot of the historical archives talk about her and shit.
Yeah.
And you know, we don't have too much. I mean, I would imagine you could maybe read her memoir, but yeah, it's just a wild thing that it was a coincidence she was on all these things and she survived.
Amazing. Good times. Thank you guys for listening. This was a fun one to research, I think. Oh yeah. I loved it. It just made me want to watch Titanic.
Oh my God, not me. I get very cringy about it now.
Oh, it's like one of those movies, like anytime it's on, I'm like, oh, I'll just leave it on.
Oh, that's nice.
But yeah, it's mostly like I just want to watch the end. Is that fucked up? That's fucked up, huh?
No, the end's the best part when I want to see the action's ramping up.
I want to see Kate Winslet's titties, and I want to see I want to see hot fucking Leo. Oh my God. Yeah. Prime of his life, Leo. Ugh.
Paint me like one of your French girls. The hand on the car. I mean, that movie is just incredible. Like the fashion, like the costuming, the set design, everything about it is perfect. But it is Billy a little Zane. Long. Even Billy Zane,
it's a lot. Anyway, So thank you for listening to our long-winded tale about Violet Jessop, and follow us on social media.
At DTFU podcast, all the places.
Yeah. Won't catch me on a cruise anytime soon.
Mostly because I don't want norovirus, because you get it every time you go on a cruise. But also, I don't. Yeah, I'm boat shy now.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. BYO life jacket.
Absolutely. I like the ocean and boats though. So
yeah,
go figure.
And I like boats and hoes.
Boats and hoes. God, I have nothing else to say except be excellent to yourselves
and each other.
Bye-bye.
Bye.